Deep in space, far from busy trade routes, there was a system no one visited. It was marked in old records, not as dangerous, not as important, just avoided. Ships that passed near it did not stay long. They did not explain why, they simply left. Over time, the system became forgotten, until one day, an alien exploration fleet arrived. They were advanced, powerful, and curious. Their mission was simple: explore unknown systems and claim useful worlds. To them, this system looked easy. No traffic, no signals, no defense, just silence. As the fleet entered, their sensors scanned everything: planets, asteroids, empty space. At first, nothing unusual appeared, but then a signal, very faint, very old, repeating again and again. The crew translated it quickly. Do not disturb the sleepers. The command room became quiet. The message was simple, clear, and strange. Sleepers? One officer asked, "What does that mean?" No one answered. The commanders studied the data. The signal was not strong, but it was stable. It had been repeating for a very long time. Source? The lead commander asked. The officer pointed at the main screen. There, a large object appeared near the edge of a dead planet, not a ship, not exactly a station, something bigger, something older. The fleet moved closer, slowly, carefully. The object became clearer. It was massive, much larger than expected. Its surface was dark, covered in damage and dust. Parts of it were broken, other parts looked untouched. It did not move. It did not react. It looked dead. But the signal continued. Do not disturb the sleepers. Again and again. A scientist stepped forward. This structure is artificial, he said, built by intelligent life. Human? Another officer asked. The scientist nodded slowly. Yes. It matches old human design patterns. The room grew tense. Humans, a species that had disappeared long ago. No one knew exactly why. Some said they destroyed themselves, others believed they left, but one thing was certain: they were gone. If humans built this, the commander said, then it is ancient. Yes, the scientist replied, very ancient. The commander leaned back. And yet, it still sends a warning. No one liked that. The fleet scanned the planet below. It was gray, cold, lifeless. No cities, no movement, no energy, nothing. The system looked empty, completely abandoned. Maybe this is just a grave, one officer said, a warning left behind, or a trap, another replied. The commander considered both ideas. Then he made a decision. We move closer. Some of the crew hesitated. The message is clear, the scientist said. We should be careful. The commander looked at him. It is a warning from a dead species. He paused. They cannot enforce it. That was enough. The fleet moved forward. The massive structure filled their screens now. It was shaped like a ring, but not perfect. Sections were broken. Gaps showed darkness inside. Long corridors stretched into shadows. It looked empty, but something about it felt wrong, too. Still, too quiet. The signal changed. For a moment, it became stronger, clearer. Duan Xiao. Not disturb the sleepers. This time, it sounded different. Not broken. Not weak. Like it was meant to be. Heard the commander frowned. Scan. For active systems, he ordered. The results came back. Quickly. No active defenses. Detected. No weapons, no shields, just the signal. Repeating endlessly. The commander relaxed slightly. Send in drones, he said. Small exploration. Drones launched from the fleet. They moved toward the structure. Slowly, carefully, there. Lights cut through the darkness. They reached the outer surface. Scanning, recording, nothing. Nothing reacted. The drones found an opening, a large broken section. They entered. Inside, it was dark, cold, silent. The drones moved deeper. Their lights revealed long halls, strange symbols, walls covered in old markings. Some looked like warnings, some looked like names. This is not random, the scientist said. This place had a purpose. What kind of purpose? The commander asked. The scientist hesitated. I don't know yet. The drones moved further, inside. Then, they found something. Rows of chambers, endless rows stretching into the darkness. The drones moved closer. The chambers were sealed, transparent. Inside, figures, human, figures, standing still, eyes closed, frozen. The entire command room went silent. Those are people, one officer whispered. No, the scientist said quietly. Not just people. The drone zoomed in. Symbols appeared on the chamber. Titles, names, ranks, general, commander, leader. The words repeated again and again. These are soldiers, the scientist said. The highest level. The commander stared at the screen. Why would they be here? No one answered. The drone scanned the chambers. No movement, no life signs. But the systems around them still had power. Very faint, very controlled. This place is not dead, the officer said. It is sleeping. The word echoed in the room. Sleeping. The warning suddenly made sense. Do not disturb the sleepers. The commander's expression hardened. Continue scanning. The drones moved closer. One of them extended a small tool. It touched the surface of a chamber. At that exact moment, the entire structure reacted. Lights flickered. Deep inside, something powered on. The signal changed, louder than before, stronger, clear. You have been warned. The drones froze. The crew held their breath. Inside one of the chambers, a faint movement, so small it was almost missed. A finger twitching. The scientist stepped back. Commander? But it was too late. The system was waking up, and deep inside the structure, the sleepers were no longer fully asleep. The structure was no longer silent. A low hum spread through the dark halls. Lights flickered along the walls, one after another, like a wave moving deeper inside. The drones hovered in place, their cameras focused on the chambers. Rows of human figures stood inside, still and quiet, but not completely still anymore. Did you see that? One officer whispered. The scientist leaned closer to the screen. Yes, he said slowly. There was movement. The commander did not speak. He watched carefully. The warning signal continued. Louder now. You have been warned. It echoed through the structure, through the drones, through every system in the alien fleet. The sound was clear, not broken, not weak, alive. Pull the drones back, one officer suggested, but the commander shook his head. Not yet, he wanted answers. The drones moved slightly closer to the chambers. Their lights revealed more details. Each chamber had markings, names, ranks, symbols. Some were damaged, some were still. Perfect. These are military titles, the scientist said. High command, how many? The commander asked. The scientist checked the data. Thousands. The room fell silent again. Thousands of human war leaders preserved, stored, waiting. For what? The officer asked quietly. No one answered. The drones focused. On one chamber, it was larger than the others, more detailed, more protected. The markings on it were clearer. Supreme General, the title stood. Out, different, important. This one is not like the others, the scientist said. The commander leaned forward. Scan it. The drone moved closer. Its sensors passed over the chamber. Energy readings appeared low but stable, still. Active, the scientist said. After all this time? Yes, that made no sense. Everything else in the system looked dead, but this was not dead. It was waiting. The drone extended its tool. Again, slowly, carefully. Do not touch it, the scientist said quickly, but the commander raised his hand. Proceed. The drone touched the surface for a moment. Nothing happened. Then the entire structure reacted. Lights turned on across the chamber. Power surged through hidden systems. The hum became louder, stronger. The warning signal changed again. Now it was different, more direct, more final. Final warning, the words, repeated again and again. The crew froze inside the chamber. Movement clear this time. The figure inside slowly opened its eyes. Cold, sharp, focused. The drone's camera zoomed in. The human did not look confused, did not look weak. He looked aware, fully aware. The scientist stepped back. That is not possible. The commander stared at the screen. How long has he been in there? No data, the scientist replied, but it should not matter. Why? Because no one should survive that long, but this one had. The chamber began to open slowly. Steam escaped from the sides. Locks. Released one by one. The human inside stepped forward. His movements were steady, controlled. Like he had done this before. He looked at the drone directly, as if he could see it, as if he knew it was there. The crew felt it. That feeling. Again, like they were being watched. Is he looking at us? One officer asked. No. Another replied quickly. That is not possible, but no one sounded sure. The human stepped out of the chamber. He stood tall, wearing dark armor, holding no weapon, but he did not need one. There was something else about him, something heavy, something dangerous. The system around him activated. A voice filled the structure. Calm, artificial, clear. Command. Authority detected. The human did not speak. He simply listened. Identity confirmed. Supreme General. The alien crew froze. The title matched the chamber. Threat detected. The human's eyes narrowed slightly. External. Presence identified. The drone signal flickered. Assessing. Enemy. The human finally moved. He looked around the chamber, at the other sleepers, at the endless rows of generals, then back at the drone. Commander, the officer whispered. We need to leave. But the commander did not respond. He could not look away. The human stepped forward. Closer to the drone, his face calm, expression cold. What is he doing? The scientist asked. The drone began to lose connection. Signal interference increasing. Pull it back, the commander shouted. The drone tried to move, but it was too late. The human raised his hand, not quickly, not aggressively, just a simple motion, and the drone shut down instantly. No damage, no explosion, just off. The feed went black. The command room erupted. We lost the drone. What happened? Unknown. The commander slammed his hand down. Scanned the structure. Sensors focused on the massive ring. Energy readings were rising fast. Not just from one chamber. From many. Across the entire structure. They are all activating, the scientist said. How many? The commander asked. All of them. The scale of it hit them at once. Not one general, not 10,000s waking up at the same time. Outside, the fleet detected new signals from the planet, from space, from everywhere. Something was connecting, building, linking together. This is a network, the scientist said. A command system. For what? The officer asked. The answer came quickly. For war. The fleet trembled slightly. Systems flickered. Communications became unstable. What is happening to our systems? The commander demanded. Unknown interference. We are losing control. The commander turned back to the screen. The structure glowed faintly, now alive, awake, watching. The warning came one last time, clear, unmistakable. You were warned. The commander finally understood, too late. We woke them, the officer whispered. No one disagreed, because deep inside that structure, the deadliest minds of humanity were rising, and they were already taking control. The system was no longer quiet. Energy signals spread everywhere, from the giant structure, from the dead planet below, from deep space around the fleet. Everything was waking up. The alien fleet stood still, but fear had started to grow. What are we seeing? One officer asked. The scientist stared at the data. His voice was low. A network. What kind of network? A war network. The words hit hard. The commander stepped forward. Explain. The scientist pointed at the readings. All these signals are connected. The structure, the planet, and something else. Something hidden in space. Hidden? The commander repeated. Yes, the scientist said. They were not active before. Now they are coming online. The commander's voice became sharp. How many? The scientist hesitated. Too many. The fleet scanned the surrounding space again. At first, nothing, just darkness, but then shapes appeared, faint, almost invisible. Large objects, floating in silence. They had been there the whole time, watching, waiting. Those are not natural, the officer said. No, the scientist replied. They are machines, human machines, war machines. The realization spread quickly. This system was not abandoned. It was prepared. Prepared for this exact moment. Defensive positions. The commander ordered. The fleet moved. Instantly, ships formed tight formations. Weapons powered up. Shields activated. The calm exploration mission was gone. Now it was survival. Inside the structure, more chambers opened, more generals stepped out, each one calm, each one focused. They did not panic, they did not ask questions. They understood immediately. The system spoke to them. Threat detected. Command access granted. System control available. The generals connected to the network instantly, like they had never been gone, like they had been waiting for this moment. The Supreme General stood at the center. He watched everything, the alien fleet, their movements, their fear. He did not smile. He did not speak. He simply gave orders. Engage. Outside. The first attack came, but it was not loud, not bright, not visible. One alien ship at the edge of the fleet suddenly stopped. Its engines shut down, its lights flickered. System failure. The crew reported. What is happening? Their commander shouted. No answer came. Then, the ship disappeared. Gone. No explosion. No debris. Nothing. The fleet froze. What just happened? One officer asked. No one knew. Sensors scanned the area, nothing, empty space. It is gone, the scientist said. Completely. Gone. Fear spread. This was not normal combat. This was something else. Find the attacker, the commander ordered. Scanners pushed to maximum. Range is searching, looking, but they found nothing. Only shadows. Movement. Something. Just out of reach. Another ship reported an issue. We are losing control. Its systems flickered. Weapons went offline. Navigation failed. Help us. Then it vanished. Just like the first one, the fleet began to panic. Multiple ships lost. No enemy lock. We cannot target anything. The commander's voice rose. Hold formation. But it was already breaking. Ships moved in different directions, trying to avoid an enemy they could not see. Inside the structure, the generals worked together. Each one took control of a part of the system. One controlled space defenses. One controlled planetary systems. One handled communications. They did not speak. They did not argue. They acted. Perfect coordination. Perfect strategy. This was not chaos. This was war at the highest level. Outside, the hidden machines moved, fast, silent, precise. They passed between ships without being detected, striking when needed, disappearing immediately. The alien fleet fired into space. Energy blasts filled the darkness, but they hit nothing, or almost nothing. For a brief second, one shot connected. A shadow appeared. A machine. Smooth. Dark. Then it vanished again. No confirmed damage. The officer shouted, "We cannot hit them." The commander clenched his fist. This is impossible. But it was happening right in front of them. Another ship tried to escape, its engines pushed to full power. Jump drive charging. Hope filled the command deck, then jump failed. Why? The commander demanded. Navigation systems blocked. The ship slowed down, trapped. Shadow passed through it, clean silent. The ship split apart, then disappeared. The fleet was no longer fighting. It was being erased. Piece by piece. The Supreme General watched the battle, calm, focused. He adjusted positions, changed strategies, predicted movements. Every alien action was expected. Every move countered before it happened. They are learning us, one alien officer said. No, the scientist replied. They already know. That was the truth. These generals had fought wars beyond imagination. They understood strategy. They understood fear. They understood enemies. And now they understood this fleet. The commander looked at the main screen. Ships were disappearing faster now, one by one. No defense, no escape. He finally spoke. We made a mistake. No one disagreed, because it was obvious the warning had been real, the sleepers had been real, and now they were awake. The satellite signal returned. Loud, clear, final. You were warned. The fleet was collapsing, and deep inside the structure, the deadliest generals of humanity were fully awake, and they were winning. The battle was no longer a battle. It was control. The alien fleet was breaking apart. Ships moved without order. Commands were delayed. Systems were failing. Nothing worked the way it should, and behind it all, the human generals were in command. Inside the massive structure, the halls were no longer dark. Lights filled every section. Systems ran at full power. Screens showed the entire system. Every ship, every movement, every signal. Nothing was hidden. The generals stood in different control areas. Each one focused, each one calm. They did not panic. They did not rush. They worked. Perfectly. The Supreme General watched everything. His eyes moved slowly across the displays. He saw the alien fleet trying to reorganize, trying to escape, trying to survive. But to him, they were predictable. "They are splitting," one general said. "Yes," another replied. "They are trying to break our tracking." The Supreme General gave a short command: divide and isolate. At once, the system responded. Hidden machines moved into position. Invisible barriers formed, not physical, not visible, but real. The alien ships tried to move away from each other, but their paths were blocked. Their navigation systems failed again. "We cannot move," one alien captain shouted. "Something is stopping us." Panic spread through the fleet. Inside the structure, the generals adjusted their strategy. "Cut their communication," one said. "Done," another replied. At that moment, the alien fleet lost contact with each other. Each ship was alone. No shared data, no coordination, only confusion. "What is happening?" one officer cried. "We cannot reach the command ship." The commander tried to respond, but his signal did not go through. The fleet was isolated, exactly as planned. The Supreme General watched the results. "Now remove them," he said. The order was simple. The system obeyed. The hidden machines attacked again, faster, more direct. No hesitation. One alien ship tried to fire. Its weapons powered up, then shut down. Another ship activated shields. They failed instantly. A third ship tried to hide, but it was already tracked. One by one, they disappeared. Clean, silent, efficient. This was not destruction. This was execution. The alien command ship remained at the center, watching everything. The commander stood still, his face was pale. "This is not possible," one of his officers said. "They are controlling everything." The scientist shook his head. "They are not just controlling it. They are predicting us." The commander looked at the screen. Another ship vanished, then another. "They know what we will do before we do it," the scientist continued. "That is why we cannot win." The commander's hands tightened. "Then we leave." The officer turned to him. "Jump systems are still blocked. Find a way." The crew worked quickly, trying to bypass the interference, trying to regain control. But every attempt failed. "It is useless," the scientist said quietly. "They are inside our systems." The commander froze. "What do you mean?" "They are not just attacking from outside. They are controlling from within." The truth hit hard. The generals were not just using weapons, they were using strategy, technology, control. They were turning the fleet against itself. Inside the structure, the generals continued their work. One monitored movement, one controlled weapons, one handled interference, each role perfect, each action precise. They did not waste energy. They did not make mistakes. They had done this before. Many times. In many wars. The Supreme General spoke again. "End it." The system reacted instantly. All remaining machines moved at once. Coordinated, focused, final. Outside, the alien fleet collapsed completely. Ships lost power. Engines shut down. Weapons went silent. No resistance remained. The command ship was the last. It floated alone, surrounded by invisible enemies. The commander looked around the room. His crew was silent. No hope left. No escape. He took a slow breath. "Send a message," he said. The officer looked at him. "To who?" The commander answered softly. "To anyone." The transmission began. Weak, broken, but real. "Do not enter this system." The message repeated. Again, And again. This is not an empty world. The signal flickered. They are still here. The commander looked at the screen, at the massive structure, at the silent machines, at full strength. The transmission cut off. Inside the structure, the Supreme General observed. No reaction, no emotion. The message did not matter. The outcome was already decided. Final phase, he said. The generals nodded. The last attack began. The machines closed in on the command ship. Slowly, deliberately. The ship's systems failed one by one. Lights flickered, screens went dark. The crew stood still. No one spoke. No one moved. The commander looked forward. He understood now. The warning had not been a threat. It had been truth. Do not disturb the sleepers. He closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them again. Too late. He whispered. The final system shut down. The ship disappeared. Silence returned. The fleet was gone. Completely. Inside the structure, the general stood still. The system spoke one final time. Threat eliminated. The Supreme General nodded. Stand down. The war was over, and they had never lost control. Silence spread across the system. The alien fleet was gone. No ships remained. No signals. No movement, only the cold darkness of space, and the distant light of stars. It was over. But inside the massive structure, the system was still active. The generals had not moved. They stood in their positions, watching the displays, confirming the result. Every part of the system reported the same thing. Threat eliminated. Area secure. System stable. The Supreme General looked at the final report. Complete victory. No damage to the system. No loss of control. Perfect. This was not a battle, one general said quietly. The Supreme General replied without emotion. No, it was a response. The difference was clear. The aliens had come to explore, to claim, to understand. But the system was not built to talk, it was built to protect, and protection did not require warning more than once. The generals began shutting down active systems one by one. Weapons powered down. Hidden machines returned to their positions, invisible again, silent. Again waiting, but not fully asleep, not yet. The system still needed confirmation. The Supreme General gave another order. Full scan. Sensors spread across the entire system from the outer edge to the surface of the planet. Everything was checked. Everything was verified. No remaining threats detected, one general reported. Communication signals outside the system, another asked. Minimal, came the reply. One outgoing message attempted. Weak, unstable. The Supreme General paused. Destination? Unknown. It did not travel far. The general nodded. It did not matter. Even if the message reached someone, it would only repeat the same warning. And maybe that would be enough. Inside the structure, the other generals began to slow their actions. Their work was done. There were no more enemies, no more threats, no more commands needed. One of them spoke. How long has it been? Another checked the system logs. Very long. Time had no meaning. Here they had been asleep for ages, waiting, prepared, for something that might never come. But it had come. And they had done exactly what they were created to. Georgia, the Supreme General, turned away from the main display. He looked at the endless rows of chambers, some still open, some empty. He understood the purpose of this place. It was never meant to save humanity. It was meant to protect what remained, to make sure no one could take it, no matter how long it took, no matter how strong the enemy was. The system spoke again. Mission complete. Return to standby mode. The words echoed softly. The generals did not react immediately. For a brief moment, they stood in silence, thinking, remembering fragments of old wars, old battles, old enemies, all gone now. Only this mission remained. One general finally spoke. We did our duty. The Supreme General nodded. Yes, another asked quietly. And if they return? The answer came without hesitation. We will wake again. That was enough. The generals began to move slowly, calmly. No rush. No emotion. They walked back toward their Chambers. The same chambers they had left not long ago, or perhaps a very long time ago. Each one entered their place, standing exactly as before, ready, prepared, waiting. The system began the shutdown process. Energy levels dropped. Lights dimmed. Systems powered down one by one. The structure returned to silence. But before the final shutdown, the satellite outside activated again. Its signal spread across the system. Clear, strong, unbroken. Do not disturb the sleepers, the message repeated. Again and again inside. The last chamber closed. The Supreme General stood, still. His eyes slowly closed. The system confirmed. Command units inactive. System entering standby. Everything went dark. Everything went silent. The structure looked dead. Again abandoned, forgotten. Like nothing had ever happened. Outside, space was calm. The blue planet turned slowly, peaceful, untouched, protected. The hidden machines were invisible again. Waiting. In the darkness, the satellite drifted quietly, its surface damaged, its systems weak, but still working, still sending the message, still warning anyone who came close, far away. Beyond the system, a faint signal moved through space, the last message from the alien. Fleet broken, weak, almost lost. Do not come here. The signal faded, disappeared. Silence returned, but the warning remained, because that was the purpose. Not to fight forever. Not to chase enemies, but to stop them completely, and then wait for as long as needed. The system slept again, but it was not empty. It was never empty. It was ready. The system was quiet again, not just silent, still, like nothing had ever moved, like nothing had ever lived. The stars burned far away, cold and distant. The blue planet turned slowly below, calm and untouched. No signs of war marked its surface. No evidence of the fleet remained in orbit. Everything had been erased completely. The massive structure floated in darkness, broken on the outside, silent on the inside. Its lights were gone. Its systems were asleep. It looked like a dead relic once more. But it was not empty. Deep within, behind sealed walls and reinforced chambers, the generals stood in perfect stillness. Eyes closed, bodies unmoving, waiting. They had returned to sleep. Their mission was complete. The system confirmed it again and again in its fading processes. Threat eliminated. Defense cycle complete. Command units inactive. Every function slowed, every system powered down, until nothing remained but a faint pulse, and even that began to fade. Outside, the satellite drifted in orbit, small, damaged, barely holding together. It looked like it should not work, but it did. Its signal returned, weak at first, then stable, then clear. Do not disturb the sleepers. The message moved across space. Slow, steady, endless. It did not care who heard it. It did not change. It did not stop. Because it was not just a warning. It was a truth. Time passed. No one came. No ships entered the system. No signals answered the call. The universe moved on. But the system remained. Watching. Waiting. Then, far beyond the outer edge, something appeared. A small probe, alone, different from the fleet that came before. It moved slowly, carefully. Its purpose was simple: observe, record, report. It did not rush. It did not assume. It scanned everything. As it moved closer, it detected the signal. Weak, ancient, repeating. Do not disturb the sleepers. The probe paused. Its systems processed the message. Language matched. Translation complete, meaning clear. It turned its sensors toward the system. The blue planet appeared, calm, silent. The structure followed. Large, broken, still. Nothing moved. Nothing reacted. Everything looked safe. Everything looked abandoned. The probe scanned for life. Nothing. It scanned for weapons. Nothing. It scanned for energy. Almost nothing. Only the faint signal from the satellite. It was easy to ignore, easy to dismiss, just like before. The probe adjusted its path, moving closer, just a little. The signal repeated, "Do not disturb the sleepers." The probe paused again. It checked its internal records, fragments of lost data, stories of missing fleets, unexplained disappearances, warnings that had been ignored, patterns that did not make sense. Until now. The system compared everything. The signal, the silence, the emptiness, the past. A match formed. Not perfect, but close enough to matter. The probe remained still, for a long time, scanning, thinking, processing. The system ahead did not react. It did not change. It did not reveal anything. It simply waited, just like before. But this time, the probe did something different. It listened. The message repeated again. Do not disturb the sleepers. Simple words, clear meaning, no hidden code, no trick, just a warning. The probe made a decision, slowly. It turned away. No sudden movement, no signal sent, no approach made. It left the system. The distance grew. The signal faded. But the message remained stored, recorded, saved, to be shared, to be remembered. Back in the system, nothing changed. The structure stayed silent. The generals did not wake. The machines did not move. The planet continued its endless rotation, peaceful, protected. The satellite drifted quietly, repeating its message. Again and again, do not disturb the sleepers, because humanity was gone, their cities lost, their voices silent, their history forgotten, but their will remained, their purpose remained, their defense remained. They had planned for this. They had prepared for the end, and beyond it. They did not need to survive. They only needed to protect, and they had done it perfectly. Far away, the probe carried the message. Across systems, across civilizations, a simple truth, a simple warning. Do not go there. Do not touch what sleeps, because some things should never be awakened. The universe is vast, full of mystery, full of danger. But now, in one small corner, there was something different, something respected, something avoided, not because it was loud, not because it was powerful, but because it was absolute. The system remained untouched, silent, endless, watching, waiting, and ready for as long as it needed.